You said that for John Calipari to get fired, it's miss the tournament or lose in the first round, right? Let's just say that happens, right? Let's just say that that they end up getting rid of John Calipari, or Texas fires Chris Beard and Coach Cal jumps at the opportunity to be able to go to Texas and get a soft landing, get a big old contract at a place where he could bring his recruiting class with him, right? Let's just say that it doesn't work out with John Calipari. Who is on your list? Who are you? Like, let's say that what is Mitch Barnhart? What's the name of the AD? Mitch Barnhart, right? Let's say you're Mitch Barnhart.
Yep.
And you have to fill your head coaching vacancy. Give me your list. Give me the first person you call. Give me the second person you call, and give me the guy that you think you're most likely to get. So can I? You know what?
Yeah,
let me give you mine first.
Sure.
Yeah, let me give you mine first, and you tell me how crazy any of this is. I think the first two people I call are Jay Wright and Billy Donovan. And I don't think that you get either of those guys. I think Jay is very happy doing TV and
they both
life.
said no to Kentucky multiple times before.
Yes. I think you still pick up the phone and call them, knowing you're probably not going to get them, right?
Here's what I'll say to this. Let me finish on Billy Donovan. Because I actually like Billy Donovan. I didn't have his name written down because I don't think he's going to be fired. I mean, listen, who knows in the NBA how quickly things can change. Mm-hmm. Billy Donovan said no before, largely because of his family. That's why he didn't want to go there and be in the fishbowl. Yep. Now his kids are all older. It's just him and his wife at this point. He's dealt with the NBA. I don't think he wants to get back into college. I don't think he has any desire to get back into college because everybody tells him how shitty it is right now with NIL, with the transfer portal. But if Kentucky came calling and he was unemployed, would Billy listen? Possibly. Jay Wright, I think his next job is with the Philadelphia 76ers if something happens with Doc Rivers. I just think Jay sits tight. He likes obviously, he made a decision. He looks happy right now. So those would be two people that absolutely would be on my to-call list, no doubt, high above. I don't think you can get either of them. So they're probably not on my likely, there's a list of guys at the top that you just put on there that you say, like, it's not going to happen, but I got to make the call anyway. Mm-hmm. Brad Stevens, go ahead, make the call. Maybe he wants to still coach. I mean, he's never going to go to Kentucky. That would be like the last place Brad Stevens would probably go. But again, call him. Why not? Call his wife, Tracy, and she'll say no. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yep. Those are the two names. And I guess you could put Brad Stevens in there as well. I think you got to make the very first calls. I don't think you get them. Then next you go to college coaches. I think the first guy I go after, Scott Drew. I don't know if Scott leaves Baylor because I think that it's nice being at a place where you literally do not have a beat writer for a local paper. I think that you call Matt Painter. I don't know if Matt Painter fits because I think he's more of like a development culture guy as opposed to going out and getting 5 stars. I don't know if he would love the fishbowl, but I think the world of Matt Painter. That I got a freaking paint crew shirt on, right? Yep. I think that Tommy Lloyd is somebody that I would look very heavily at. I don't think Tommy would take it, but I think that Tommy Lloyd, I just look at what he's done at Arizona, right? I don't think he leaves the West Coast, but if you can get him, I think that he immediately revolutionizes Kentucky's offense, and he still goes out and gets 5 stars. He gets pros, right? You don't have to worry about not having NBA guys anymore. I don't know if any of those 3 guys take it. I think
so. I had Painter and Scott Drew high atop my list. Those were 2 of my top 3 names. 2 of my top 3 names. Chris Holtman's a guy that will probably be bandied about because he's from there. He was a big.
That was the next name on my list. Is that I think that Chris Holtman's the first guy on my list that I think you want is really good and says yes.
Painter would be the guy. Like I just don't think Painter's going to leave Purdue, his alma mater, for any other college job. I don't see it happening. But again, Painter would be my third. He'd be my first like semi-realistic call of all of them. Tommy Lloyd, to me, no chance. I wouldn't even call him, and not because I don't think he would take it. I just don't think he fits in Lexington. I don't like the fit at all. Scott Drew, I'm torn on Scott. Here's why I'm torn on Scott. He's the nicest human being in the world. He would kiss all the babies, go out, talk to everybody. But I think if things go bad, I just don't know if he could handle Lexington. Like Waco and Baylor is so different. He's been able to take his time, get it going with no pressure. like, I just don't know if Scott Drew could handle all the negativity. He's the most positive human being in the world. Now, he'd help instill some positivity to an area and a fan base that certainly needs it right now. But I just don't know if that works. So let me give you my favorite name. Can I give you my favorite name for Kentucky?
Well, first, let me give you my favorite name.
Yeah.
Ed Cooley.
Yeah. I love Cooley everywhere. I love Cooley everywhere.
Whenever we have these conversations about a job opening up, I'm throwing Ed Cooley into there. First name on the list.
Yeah.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk. He's fucking up at Twitter, right? I can't deal with Elon Musk at Twitter. Hire Ed Cooley as the CEO of Twitter, right? I'm putting Ed Cooley's name in everything from now on. Everything.
Yeah. Honestly, like, my car broke down. Like, bring on Ed Cooley.
Yeah.
Just bring Ed Cooley in to fix everything.
Yeah. Right? He's great at changing tires.
And he can do everything, right? And he can do it all. All right. So here's my name. And it's a guy we've already had on our show today. And that is one Sean Miller of Xavier. He's cleared from all the NCAA stuff. He was a great recruiter at Arizona. He is a hell of a coach who knocked on the door several times of getting to the Final Four. And oh, by the way, John Calipari, not a great X's and O's guy. You know who is a great X's and O's guy?
Mm-hmm.
Sean Miller.
Here's my question. Can
he deal with Lexington?
Yeah, no. That's not my question at all. He dealt with Tucson, and Tucson's not quite the same level as Lexington.
No. Don't compare Tucson. Don't compare Tucson to Lexington. They're nothing alike. Nothing. They're not alike. The fan bases are not alike.
I hear what you're saying, but at Arizona, it's like it's college basketball first, foremost, and everything, right?
Sure.
Xavier, college basketball first, foremost, and everything. So it's not quite on the level of a Kentucky, but he's dealt with being like the most important person at a university in a city, the head of the most important team. So I don't think that that's not what I'm worried about. My question is, would Kentucky make that hire?
I don't know. I mean, they hired John Calipari. Remember how
Sean,
many people
Sean is Sean. I had Sean on my list. I had Sean above Scott Drew, and I was like, I don't know if they would hire him right now.
Do you understand? Mitch Barnhart had to be persuaded to hire John Calipari. He didn't want to hire John Calipari at first. There were other people that had to get involved and push John Calipari. Martin Newton was one of them. Right?
Which is exactly why I'm sitting here like, would they make that hire? That's my big question.
All Kentucky gives a shit about is winning.
Fair enough.
Sean's cleared of everything. He didn't even get a game suspension. He got zero. The other name that you could say, and again, he's 70. I don't think you could do it back in Kentucky, but it's an intriguing name, is one Rick Pitino. Now, with all the shit with Rick, bringing him back to Kentucky, I don't know if Kentucky fans could deal with that, but they might, just to win and get the opposite of Calipari, because that's what Rick Pitino is. He's the opposite in some ways. Now, they're both bullshitters at the highest level. But you know what they are? Like, Cal's the greatest recruiter. Rick Pitino's the greatest coach, right? They're kind of opposites in some ways. But again, a reason why they hated each other for years was because they were similar in a lot of ways in terms of their ability to BS.
We're gonna move on here, but I will just say that the chat, our YouTube chat is really funny right now.
Is it alive?
Yeah, it's live. It's really funny. There's some comments in there that we cannot repeat on the air, but
I'm not watching.
I'm looking at them and I'm laughing. And okay, watching. Good job. Can
we repeat guys. Any? Are there any good questions? Are there any good names? Wait. Are there any good names, Dagan? You can look at it too. Are there any good names being thrown out that we have not mentioned yet?
I think we mentioned all of them.
Yeah, they've all been mentioned.
People, what? Who?
They've all been mentioned.
No, there's one more that I think will be mentioned. I wouldn't hire him here, but I bet you his name will be mentioned. Is like a couple. I'll give you a couple that are doing it in the SEC. The Eric Musselmans, the Nate Oates, those guys. Like
Oates right. is one that would make sense. Yeah. I don't. I'm a little less sold on. For various reasons, but I think Nate Oates makes a lot of sense. I just wonder.
And he's a Midwest guy. Nate's from Detroit guy. Like,
But
yeah,
Detroit, Detroit and Kentucky are just it's not
well, but they're in this. All I'm saying is
things.
he's recruited that area of the country, is what I'm saying. He's recruited Chicago. He's recruited that area of the country. But you're right. Yes, they're very different.
Tommy Lloyd's a West Coast guy. He'd be great at Florida. That they both have beaches, right? All right, let's move on. It's December. It's kind of early to be talking about this.